Man, this some good pie.
I got 11. Key out. You're about to even got a little something called man blue. So come on down and open up your eyes and get yourself big old hunk of dangerously delicious pies. DangerousPies.com.
Brian, and that when Steve sort of undressed him, if you will, publicly at that press conference after the 05 season you talked about, the new Brian wasn't a yeller and a screamer anymore. Well, you know, is there any truth to that at all?
That was a humbling experience. I think just rationally, that's a valid argument.
Because you were there long. You've been there to see the old Brian and the new Brian.
And you know Brian. I mean,
sure.
I like Brian. I mean, he's been good to me, obviously, and I think he's a great head coach. But you know, he's dealing with the media. You know, he comes off as arrogant at times, and he has a combative nature sometimes. I mean, he's a good guy, but some out in the media and you know, to fans and obviously other teams. So, you know, that wasn't the perception that Steve wanted. And obviously, you know, he said, hey, after we had a rough season, hey, I want you to change. We think you're the best guy to be our coach, but we want you to, you know, you got to change.
But looking back now, maybe the old Brian was, from a winning coach standpoint, maybe the old Brian was the better guy.
There's some validity to that.
Right.
You can't, I mean, it would make sense. I mean, maybe, you know, at times when he thinks he'd come in and be very critical to the players, or maybe kicking and screaming or having the attitude, maybe he, you know, maybe not right away, but over the course of noon he had to change and he wanted to keep coaching that, and maybe you lose a little bit of that fire, you know. So I mean, it was a lot of things. I guess, you know, you alluded to it earlier, and you know, me personally, I got a feeling, I don't know if it was a letdown this season. You still have some expectations, but I think at the point in time, the media, locally, the fans,
we put a lot of heat on you guys that week. No question about that.
We seemed like we had everything going. You know, it worked out late in the season where we had home field advantage. Our defense was playing great, and all of a sudden we, you know.
And your offense, by the way, that year, all the way up to the Buffalo game, in the rain, your offense under Brian did pretty well.
You hate to look at numbers, you know. I'm not always the big numbers guy, but when Brian took the helm, we were a top 10 offense. I mean, the way we were scoring points at times, and the defense was getting tons of turnovers, we were capitalizing on it. It just seemed we had that right momentum to like, hey, I mean, these guys have a shot. You know, we weren't New England, San Diego, they were the favorites. Colts were kind of coming in here, and they were, you know, teams were saying, well, they can beat the Ravens. So we kind of had that in the weeds, you know, with a lot of talent there, and I thought it was going to kind of come together. But you know, we had that week off, and I don't know, the momentum just died, and we never recovered. And, you know, do I think, you know, maybe some younger guys? Yeah, it hurts a little bit. Older guys probably a lot more. The fact that how many chances, you know, if you go in our locker room, how many guys went 13-3 before last year? Nobody was. Maybe a few coaches here. It just doesn't happen. So, you know, and then we come in here and we got off to a slow start. And, you know, 4-2 was okay, but I think with our schedule should have been a lot better. Ended up being like 4-3.
You lost to Buffalo, and that made it. And then you took the break.
Right. So, you know, at the break, and it was frustrating. I think, you know, going into the bye week too, and now it's, you know, everybody's talking, players, coaches, what's going on, whose fault, and there's always going to be blame to throw around when you have expectations. You know, as well as Jason knows as well as anybody, it's a lot harder to play with expectations. And that from that Colt game to those first 7 games of the season is where it went downhill. Fighting expectations, injuries, guys not happy with the roles, and I think, you know, coming out of the bye week, it just blew up and snowballed.
Let's finish up with Mike Flynn and Jason Brown by just talking real quick about the quarterback situation.